Welcome to today's update. Now, I'm going to sort of temper the news about the vaccine today. Now, it looks like there's bad news from the Oxford vaccine, but it's probably not as bad as it sounds. So we'll talk about that, and then we'll talk about a disastrous motorcycle event in the United States, or an apparently disastrous motorcycle event in the United States, spreading infection all over the place. And we'll talk about probably a couple of other things. Mostly news related today, and for those of you that persevere to the end, there will be a reward, so stick around. Now, getting down to the business of the vaccine. Now, there's been lots of hyping about this vaccine. People have been saying the vaccine will be out in 2 seconds time, or in 2 weeks time, or 3 weeks time, or whatever. But the fact of the matter is it's probably going to be January, February before the vaccine is circulated to any extent at all in the Western world. And let me give you a reason why that is, and it's a good reason. It's a very good reason. Now, 9 leading Western vaccine manufacturers have got together because I think basically reading between the lines, what's happened here is because there's a lot of pressure to get this vaccine out, the companies have all got together and said, well, no, actually, we're not going to play this game. We're going to do it the way that we would normally do it, to normal standards. And of course, if that wasn't the case, they'd be open to all sorts of attacks and litigation and things. So it makes sense that they would do this. So this is what is coming out on this at the moment. There I am. Right. So 9 leading manufacturers have got together, all the main manufacturers. Now these are the manufacturers that are working in collaboration with various academic institutions and national health institutes and things like that. And these are all the leading contenders for the Western vaccines. So these are all the leading contenders apart from the Russian and Chinese vaccine have got together. And they have said that they will be doing large randomised blind controlled trials, of course, comparing the vaccine against either a placebo or another vaccine. There'll be diverse participants. There'll be young, old, different ethnic backgrounds, different social backgrounds. So the vaccine has been trialled on those where the vaccine will actually be used on a diverse population. They're going to insist on the normal scientific standard of significance, which is 95% sure of all data. And China and Russia have not signed up to this. Make of that what you will. So basically, this is a message to politicians from these companies saying we're not going to put our reputation on the line, we're not going to put our finances on the line, this vaccine is going to take time, don't expect an announcement next week or the week after. And I have said for some time now I'm expecting the first vaccines to be rolled out early 2021. Quite how early we don't know. So that's that bit. Now the news about the AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine looked really bad. But I don't think it's as bad as it looks. Let's look at it and see what is going on with this vaccine. So, as you know, the AstraZeneca University of Oxford, adenovirus that carries a gene for the spike protein of the SARS coronavirus 2. Therefore, the adenovirus expresses the spike protein for coronavirus 2, which acts as the antigen, which stimulates the antibody formation. We've done all that in detail on previous videos. Now, the phase 3 trial has been suspended. Clinical stoppages are uncommon, though. This happens, and it's actually happened before in this vaccine. So whenever the trials just don't run. The trials are actively supervised, and whenever the supervising body's unhappy, they can suspend the vaccine for a period of time. It's the safe thing to do. Doesn't mean say the vaccine's not working. Doesn't mean say the vaccine's dangerous. It means to say there's a problem to answer. And that's what they've paused to look at. So my pessimism is not too unbounded here. I think this could just be a hiccup. Now, at the moment, they're trying to recruit 30,000 people in the States. I think it's up to 62 sites at the moment. Not all of those sites have been given the vaccine yet, but we've been using it for some time in the UK, Brazil, South Africa. And the reason I'm partly assured is this is the first time, well, it's the second time it's been stopped. The first time was minor. But this is the first time there's been a significant stoppage. So, in other words, the vaccine has already been given to, presumably, we don't have the interim data, but presumably thousands of people already. And as far as we know, without problem, because if there was a problem, they would have paused it already. So it just looks like there's been one suspected serious adverse reaction in the UK. And this is described by the company as an unexpected illness. Don't know quite what that means, but that's what they've described. The company's standard review process has been triggered in a pause to vaccination to allow for review. And I believe this is a standard review process. They are simply following clinical trial protocol here. The participant who did have this illness, whatever it was, we don't know, is believed to be recovering. Now, this might have relevance to other vaccine trials. Now, what I do understand is happening, it's hard to get the full news, but all the other people working on other vaccines, I believe have been made aware of this problem, and they're looking at their vaccine programs to make sure the same problem has not arisen. Let's carry on. Researchers leading other trials are now looking, so other researchers are just checking their study. Now, the phase 1-2 study of this Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine did show that 60% of participants had a mild side effect, which is not too surprising. Vaccines do have mild side effects, mild to moderate. Although that is high-ish, I must say, but although, not really. I mean, most vaccines give you a painful arm or something like that. The company again, or the spokesman, is saying in large clinical trials, disease occurred by chance, leading to an independent review to verify this carefully. In other words, what this is saying is this vaccine has probably been given to about 30,000 people already, or something like that. We don't know the exact figures, but in that number of the population, people will get sick, inevitably by chance. The question the manufacturers are addressing is this illness caused by the vaccine? It may be, they decide it's not. So it's not quite as bad as it sounds. Let's hope that works out well. Now, moving on to something that has most definitely not worked out well. In South Dakota, data collected from the 2nd of August to the 2nd of September indicates that 19% of the 1.4 million new cases in the United States might have been caused by this super spreader event. Now, if you watched this channel then, we were absolutely bouncing up and down about this Sturgis motorcycle rally. I was saying at the time, this is just crazy, this should not be going ahead. And you might remember we even looked at webcam footage of Sturgis to observe how many people on the street were not wearing masks. And yet people wanted to express their individuality and their constitutional freedoms. But this has impacted on the freedoms of other people now. So Sturgis motorcycle rally, at least the evidence is suggesting strongly that it's impacting other people. We're going to look at the evidence now. The rally itself was 7th to the 16th of August, 10-day event. Could be linked, according to the data I'm going to present, to over 250,000 cases. Not good. Almost 500,000 people attended this rally. But the point is, with this rally, the locals kind of join in and mix in with the attendees, which of course is good for business. But it means the disease has spread. It appears the disease has spread locally as well. And then, of course, the motorcyclists, by the nature of motorcycles, their vehicles, so they go all over the place. So these people have diffused all out, mostly around the northwest, but not entirely. Midwest, sorry, mostly around the Midwest. But let's look at the evidence for this. It's written up in this paper here by the Institute of Labour Economics, San Diego, I believe, State University. Check it out for yourself. Don't take my word for it. So it was a large in-person gathering without social distancing. Individuals had travelled from outside the local area, minimal mask wearing. So this group analysed anonymised cell phone data, what we call mobile phones in the UK. Data from venues, restaurants, bars, retail establishments, entertainment venues, hotels and campgrounds. Local increases in the area around about Sturgis. And the key thing that convinced me is the dose response estimates. The dose response estimates. Now what does this mean? Well, the dose here in this situation refers to the number of people from the rally that went back to a particular area. So if 2 people from a rally went back to a particular county, that would be a low dose. If 200 or 1,000 or 2,000 people went back from the rally to a particular county, that would be a higher dose. So the dose is referring to the number of people that went from the rally back, presumably mostly to their home counties. So 45 counties with the highest inflow had a 7 to a 12.5% increase in cases. So 45 counties that had there was 45 counties altogether. Data recorded from the ones with the highest inflows, the most people returning from the rally into their county. The cases increased by 7 to 12% in those counties relative to other counties that did not have the inflow contributions. So that is circumstantial evidence, I would say, but strong circumstantial evidence, good epidemiological evidence that these increasing cases are very probably associated with returnees from the Sturgis motorcycle rally. The effect is muted in states with stricter mitigation policies. In other words, some people would arrive back from this rally who would be positive, but because the state had procedures in place to stop the spread of the virus within state, the mask wearing, the hygiene, the distancing, then the individuals who were infected were less able to spread it round, so there was a mitigated effect. And looking at the Midwest states, as we looked at before, Iowa, North Dakota, South Dakota, 20% positive cases. In other words, 20% of the people that are being tested are coming back positive, indicating there's a lot of community virus around, a lot of community transmission. 20% is a very high figure for positive test percentages. And the public cost of this rally is estimated at $12.2 billion because some people chose to exercise their freedoms at the expense of others. Now, still in the States, the American Academy of Pediatrics. Now, this reports regularly. We have mentioned it in the past. But what we seem to be seeing now, and I'm going to present further data for this in Europe, not in this video, but there is further data accumulating. With schools going back, we are seeing a great increase in cases in children. Inevitably. But let's not talk in generalities. Let's stick to the data from the United States in this case. Well over 500,000 total child cases reported. 513,415 cases reported. That's 9.8% of all cases diagnosed in the country. These are positive test results, of course. Overall rate in children, 680 per 100,000 children in the population. Now, quite how children are defined varies from state to state. Normally, in clinical practice, would say sort of up to 14 is a child. After that, they can be quite big and sort of give adult doses of drugs and things like that. Legally, normally we're talking up to 17 years of age. But some states actually take it up to 21 years of age, I believe, which is just stupid. You don't have 20-year-old children, for goodness sake. I don't know what they're playing at. So I would say, the data varies depending on the state. But to me, children will be, well, yeah, according to this data, most of it is up to 17, I believe, but some are older, which is silly. But anyway, that's what it is. This is the data we have. Changes in child COVID-19 cases. So what's the trend? So 70,000 new child cases reported. This is in this time period, the 20th of August to the 3rd of September. So in that time period, there was 70,000 new cases, a 16% increase over the 2 weeks before that. So a significant increase in children. Testing, only 8 states report testing, but children made up between 4 and 14.3% of the testing. So the testing is representative, really. That seems fairly representative of the population. 3 to 17.3% of children who were tested positive. That's a high amount. That's a high positive test rate. Thankfully, hospitalizations lower. Children were 0.7 to 3.7 of the total reported hospitalizations. Not insignificant. Not insignificant. So in some areas, children were up to 3.7% of those hospitalised. And 0.3 to 8.3 of all child COVID-19 cases result in hospitalisation. So again, not a insignificant chance of hospitalisation in children. This is not something that can be ignored in children. Mortality in 42 states for children. 42 states and New York City reported. Children were 0 to 0.3% of all COVID deaths. Thankfully, low numbers of deaths, but not none. 18 states reported no child deaths at all, which was great. And 0 to 0.2 of all child COVID cases resulted in death. So that would be a case fatality rate, wouldn't it? Of under 0.2, but not 0 everywhere. So cases in children appear to be increasing everywhere now. Most places now, Europe, that's UK, that's US data. And as schools are going back, and I know some schools are going back and then suspended because of cases, but it's still a problem, and I believe that it will fuel a major second wave as they take the infection home to other people. I hope I'm wrong. Unfortunately, I wasn't wrong about this pandemic. I wasn't wrong about the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally, but I hope I'm wrong about children. Right, moving on to Canada. Cases increasing as schools reopen again in Canada. Last 7 days, an average of 545 new cases per day. In July, it was 300 new cases per day. So we see an increase to the total number of cases in Canada. Mostly younger adults. Private functions and family gatherings seem to be the infection driver. The R value is over 1, and unless that's brought down, it will exponentially increase. Fewer deaths in Canada now, but of course remember Canada has a much smaller population than other countries. Now, I think we'll just do the UK briefly and China. I had other things to do, but I think that'll be about enough for today. Give us a flavour of what's going on. Now, the UK government are, I think, reading between the lines, they are anticipating a second wave this autumn. And they've certainly gone on record of saying they fear it. New saying, hands, face, space. Keep your hands clean. Cover your face. Give others space. Exactly what we've been saying for every video on the poster. So exactly what we've been saying. And I would add to that, test if you are symptomatic, just to add to that. Now, test if you are symptomatic. Now, gatherings of more than 6 people to be banned. Where have I gone? There we are. Gatherings of more than 6 people to be banned in England. This is giving the police basically powers to enforce this. It was 30 people that were allowed to gather together. Now it's 30, aimed at social gatherings. This limit of 6 is going to include indoor gatherings, including private homes. Wedding, funerals, organised team sports, education are exempt. And this is legally enforced. This is now the law of the land, or at least it will be today when the Prime Minister announces it. Well, we think he's going to announce it today. By the time you watch this video, I'm sure he will have announced it. And that means that means you're breaking the law by gathering. If 7 people gather together, you are breaking the law. This is a legal matter, and it is enforced by fines. But because it's a law, it should not need to be enforced. People should obey the law, whether they like it or not. I'm not artistic in any way, shape, or form, but others are. So we're going to have music from Sophia and visual art from Becky. Providing my technology works, of course. Right, let's go for it. Now, I'll just say that Becky she's an animal artist. I just admire artists so much. I can't draw, I can't even clap in time, I'm not artistic at all. But Becky normally draws animals, but she's started drawing NHS staff, which of course is highly appropriate. And this song by Sophia, it's about a namesake of mine called Donald Campbell, a hero of old that some of you will remember if you live in the UK or Australia. But it just seemed to fit, and if it doesn't fit, my apologies. I'm not an artistic director, but I will show you these. I will show you these pictures.
She rises through the water as she lifts herself up high. No one knows the strength inside, all the tears in his eyes, forced to drive on with his passion, and with the bluebird on his mind. They lower the boat into the water. He turns and waves his goodbyes. This is for his country, this green and pleasant land, to preserve the world's beat records on water and land. Such a man of courage, deep in his heart he always knew, if he ever felt discouraged, he would just smile and see it through. And there is so much speculation, the press are always wanting more. Always seems the biggest question is what on earth you're doing it for. This is for my country, this green and pleasant land, to preserve the world's speed records on water and land. Sparks into the sky, there's no stopping her now. She cuts the water like a knife. Oh, can't you feel her go? This was for his country, his green and pleasant land. He lost his life